You own him?
Shoot!
Good morning. It is time for my mule deer hunt in Wyoming with Mossy Oak. I'm at the Nash Vegas airport, and my cameraman and I, that's Tim, we are going to Wyoming near Devil's Tower and going on my first mule deer hunt with Mossy Oak. Really don't know what to expect. They've been seeing some big ones, but it's time to get this luggage inside, check it in, get on the plane, and go get a muley. Fun enjoyment of security. Good morning. The time has finally come for me to go mule deer hunting here in Wyoming. Now, yesterday we arrived, and my friend Pat picked me up with Mossy Oak, picked me up at the airport, me and my cameraman, and we're down here now. We're about 10 minutes from Devil's Tower. Yesterday when we got in, the first thing we did was take our firearms out and make sure they were sighted in. Luckily, mine was still sighted in. I'm shooting inch high at 100 yards with my Savage 6.5 Creedmoor Hunter MSR10. I did change a few things on that setup. Of course, I changed the trigger. I mentioned that in the video if you haven't seen the review on it. I put a Geisley, about a 3.5 pound trigger. I think it's a 3.5 pound two-stage, and then it goes down to 2.5 pound. And I also had Mossy Oak dip it for me. And I tell you what, the rifle will shoot like a top down 3/4 inch groups all day long at 100 yards. And yesterday, after we sighted in, we just sat around and talked, looked at some of the wildlife that was around the cabin. And now it's 5:45. We just had breakfast. The guys said, get your stuff. We're about ready to go hunting. And I tell you one thing, I am excited about this mule deer hunt. I've never taken a big game out west. Now, I've taken a turkey, but some states consider that big game, some of them do not. However, I'm out here on a mule deer hunt, and I've got to kind of set the stage for you guys of everything that happened. I'm on a 5-day hunt, but I did end up taking a mule deer on the first day. Okay, and the reason why I did that is because of this. The first 20 minutes into the hunt, I see this mule deer.
All right, he's a good deer. Got him smelling that doe. And he's not very wide, but he's really tall. He's a 3x2. No, 3x3. Yeah, he's a 3x3. He's a good buck, but that's a good buck, but he's real tall, not very wide, real tall. Yep. He's a good buck. But we're only, 25 minutes into the hunt, so. All right, see if we can get something a little bit bigger. Speaking with the guide, he said, you know what, that's a really nice mule deer. He said it's above average, because you gotta remember, a lot of hunters come out here and they'll shoot the first buck that they see, which is fine. If they want it, the guides and the outfitters saying, hey, if you want that deer, you take it. But I wanted a good, mature mule deer. So I passed on it. We watched that deer for probably about 30 minutes. And we went to another farm. And once we went to that farm, it didn't take long that we were on another mature mule deer. Honestly, we are only in about 30 minutes of our hunt, and we are seeing mule deer like crazy. I'm used to hunting whitetail, and if I see a joker like this come by my stand, there would be no and if but for nors about it. I'm gonna bust it. But look, we're only 60 yards, and there are 3 doe, 4 or 5, there are 4 doe out there, and look at him. He's 97 yards. And he's a very good 3x4, very good 3x4. But we're only 30 minutes into our hunt. I'm wanting at least a 4x4 and some more mass. We've seen 3 very, very good bucks so far. We're only 30 minutes into our hunt. So I passed on it. We watched that deer for probably about 30 minutes. And we went to another farm. And once we went to that farm, it didn't take long that we were on another mature mule deer. It wasn't what I was looking for. As you can see, it was a good muley, but not exactly what I wanted. So we went to another farm and we saw some good deer. And I'm gonna throw in a little bit of footage here of what we saw on that ranch. I could have taken a number of these deer. Some of them were as close as 30 yards, some were out there about 150 yards. But it kept replaying in my mind the first mule deer until we went down this one particular ridge. And we saw one that really caught my eye and was really, really tempting. After watching that mule deer for 40 minutes, at least 40 minutes, I don't know the exact time, but I was torn. And at one point, I said, all right, I'm gonna take it. And then at the last minute, I said, you know what? I'm not gonna do it because the guide and my cameraman and myself felt like the first deer that we saw that morning was a better deer. And I need to throw this in there. We actually passed that deer 4 times. So with about an hour left of shooting light, I decided, and I said to myself, if that deer is back at that location, I'm gonna take a shot at it. We pulled up, that mule deer was there, and I tell you what, I said, let's do it, let's do it. So we got out and, got set up, and here is the actual footage of me taking my first mule deer. You own him? Shoot! I got him. Come on, baby, go down. Well, I did it. Yes, it's my first day on the hunt, but we're gonna have some nasty weather come in tomorrow. And I've been on the road for about 4 or 5 weeks. I'm tired. I wanna see my family. I miss them, my wife and kids. But you know what? This is a good mule deer in anybody's book, much less my first mule deer. Now, previously in the video, you're gonna see this mule deer. We saw this mule deer 20 minutes after shooting light. And I was like, man, that's a good one. and we hunted all day. We saw 3 or 4 other mature mule deer, but nothing that I wanted, or nothing was as big as this one. This one stayed in the same spot all day long. And at about the last hour of daylight or shooting light, I made the decision and I said, man, you know what? This sucker could be gone tomorrow. I want to get on it. I want to get on this guy and I want to take him. He's a beautiful 4x3. He does have brow tines and he is big as a horse. You know, I've shot a lot of whitetail, but this is nothing like the whitetail we have in Tennessee. But, you know, you may notice that I said shoot real loud on the video. The reason why I said shoot was because I wanted to drop that deer in its tracks. I was using the new Federal Copper 6.5 Creedmoor in my Savage MSR 10 right here. And I wanted to drop him on the spot. I didn't want him to jump the fence because I didn't want to drag him back over the fence. But honestly, as you see in the video, once he stopped and he went down on the woods, he fell right there. So he didn't run, you know, he didn't run 100 yards after I shot him. Double lung, you know, I was aiming for the heart. I missed it by probably about 2 inches. But you know what? The shot was about 75, 80 yards. I am 100% pleased and tickled pink when we found this deer and, you know, we retrieved him. So if you're an ethical hunter, it is up to you. If you take a shot at an animal and wound it, it's up to you to find them. But you know what? I'm going back to Tennessee with some mule deer and going to get this sucker, take it to the taxidermist and get my first mule deer on the wall. I want to thank Mossy Oak for taking me on this trip. And, you know, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be on this trip. So I want to thank Mossy Oak, you know, for everything that they've done for me and for my channel now for about a year. And of course, Savage with this sweet MSR 10 Hunter and 6.5 Creedmoor that got the job done. I am tickled pink, guys. Thank you very much for watching another episode of Plinkster Outdoors. Until next time, y'all be safe and keep hunting. I want to thank Trophy Ridge Outfitters for an amazing, amazing hunt. Whether you're looking for elk, mule deer, whitetail deer, prairie dog, or antelope, this is the place to go. I will put everything in the bottom of this video in the description if you're interested in this hunt.